Valerie, what did you notice about the math data for John W. Houston?
Okay, so based on the data, 44% of our students are below grade level, and I wonder where these students will be after remediating and teaching all the standards.
Okay, that was a great feedback off of that. Kelly, would you like to add what you have to say about math?
Basically, I was saying the same thing, but I noticed and I wondered something. When you add all those three together, that would have gone above the 50%. So I wonder, what can we do for that? The green is where they're above, the 19 is close. So what can we do? Because when you're at 19% and yellow, you're very close to passing.
Correct.
So what can we do for that 19%? Because those are the ones I think we should focus on because they're almost there.
Okay, and I'm gonna challenge you a little bit on that. That 19%, right now, if they take the Georgia milestone, we'll get a 0.5 point for those scholars. However, the scholars that sit at 24 and 44, we get no points for it. So, I would double down on that and ask, what can we do for this 24 to get them closer to joining this? Yes, and I agree, we can move the 19 over here to proficient and get a whole point. So what can we do to that? I love that. That was a great observation, a great notice there.
Math teachers taking it in because this is how we're gonna develop our plan for remediation and moving our scholars. Same
Absolutely.
for reading.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to transition to reading. Who would like to give a notice and wonder for our reading overall map data? Ms. Sims, jump in.
Okay, so I noticed that 42% are in the first to 20th percentile, and I'm wondering, for those kids who are in that percentile, what are their weaknesses as it relates to the standard that they're not understanding? And for those that are not in the red, what can I as a teacher do to improve them to surpass the level that they're at?
Okay, so your very first thing that you notice is that you want to know what areas of deficits are they facing that's sitting in that 42%. Okay, that was a great notice there. And then you want to further push that as a teacher, what can you do and add to your toolbox as an instructional leader in ELA for 7th grade to enhance and move our scholars? Can I get another notice and or wonder about
I want to chime in on her wonder because I love the fact as the ELA teacher, you're taking that ownership and accountability for it being reading. But as a math teacher and everybody else in the content, I'm gonna double say, what can we do to support that understanding? Because you're gonna tailor it specifically to your standards, but how can we in these other content areas support to help push that across the school too? Because that's gonna be a team effort. All of us are impacted.
Absolutely.
By that school.
Absolutely. Any other notices or wonders we would like to add to the table before we transition? No?
Good stuff.
Okay, so as we are getting ready to transition, please go ahead and place your stickies on that chart paper there. We under 7th grade, put your reading under reading and place your math under math for us, please. That's why we ask you guys to write that down so we can keep that data. So put your reading and your math up there as you transition.
And as we move throughout this process of analyzing our data, we're gonna start pulling some of those wonderings and seeing what we need to do as a team to address some of those. So please make sure you drop your sticky notes.
Okay? As you guys are returning to your desk, to your seat, go ahead and open up your 7th grade map data workbook. Go ahead and open up your data workbook.
Quickly transition over, 7th grade, 25-26 NWEA math.
Go ahead and get that open for today.
You're
Kind of looked at our class profile, kind of got a glimpse of how many scholars fell in our beginning, how many scholars fell into our level 2, which is also labeled as beginning, but that's that orange category. And then we had how many fall into our developing as well as our proficient as well as our distinguished. So today, we're going to make sure that one, we have all that data there for our scholars because one, this is a working document for all teachers. So all of you guys have access to each other's data, which is vital to you guys when we're starting to plan our small group and things like that, because that is what we're going to transition into for quarter 2. And so we're gonna also dive deep into our actual domains. So we're gonna look at that data a little, we're gonna drill down a little bit more. So we're gonna go in, and make sure that one, we have completed all areas of concern for BOY, math percentiles, our math RITs, our projected GMAT levels, as well as our math reading percentiles, our math reading RIT scores, and our GMAT projected levels, as well as our math Lexile, our Lexile bands. Because that's important to us to know where our scholars are reading and how they fall. And then as we get that completed, we're going to transition into us completing this specifically down to our domains. Okay, we added a tab next to your name with your name and domain. Okay, so we're drilling down a little bit further, as you guys can see. You have something else? You sure?
Alright, so real quick, take 2 seconds and make sure you have that spreadsheet up, and make sure that you have map. We got a
Map
couple
up.
people that.
Okay,
So
So-
hold on 1 second.
me? You say hold on. Okay. If you have not logged into NWEA, please do. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys how we're going to look at the domains and how that data will help you as a teacher. Okay. So we want to look at our class profiles. So once we log into our math growth reports, we want to go to class profile. Okay, class profile.
Jump back over to class profile. Everybody should switch toggle from your spreadsheet to the class profile.
To class profile. So I'm going to actually pull up Dr. McKenzie's class for the sake of this demonstration. Is that okay? Okay. And I'm gonna do reading because that's my heart. I got you. No worries.
Alright, you should have toggled away from your spreadsheet now and into NWEA math.
Okay. So we're at class profile. If you have not got to class profile, please just give us a hand raise. Okay.
Mr. Magnet, you're in the cafeteria.
Yes. Perfect. So now we can look at this spreadsheet. Everybody in there? All right.
All right. Now we got Dr. in there.
With the radio.
Yeah.
Cherry, turn to the front, please. Cherry? Charity, okay.
Okay. All right. So we ready? Still holding?
We on homeroom?
Okay. Yes. You should be on homeroom. Okay. You should be on homeroom. Now I am gonna point this out for all ELA and math teachers. Okay. If you decide to drop down, it's not gonna do because I'm under McKenzie. So I gotta switch to Carson. I'm gonna do Carson for example. Okay. If you are an ELA and math teacher, you have access to all of your scholars, not just your homeroom. Okay? Y'all just remember y'all norms. Please refrain from distractions. Okay, thank you. So we have math and ELA. You have 2 categories. You either can look at homeroom or you can select that one, and that gives you all of the students that you teach. Every last one of them. So when you scroll down, you can see every scholar that you teach. That's in math and ELA. Okay, all of those teachers. But science and social studies, you only have access to your homeroom, just like I read it. So for the sake of this work, because teamwork makes the dream work, we're working on our homerooms. Okay? So in the class profile, okay, at the top, you have 3 tabs. Okay? The one that we need to go to is instructional areas. Click instructional areas. Okay? In that report in instructional areas, it gives you several pieces of vital information. So you have your breakdown, your overall view based on the domains specific to that homeroom. Okay? It goes a little bit further. When we start to do our small groups, it groups the scholars for you based on that domain in that class. Okay, so if you are teaching vocabulary, because all content areas teach vocabulary, and Miss Kelly says, oh, I'm trying to figure out why John is struggling to understand the vocabulary. Well, this data tells us that John scored the lowest in that particular class for vocabulary. So that student is going to struggle with vocabulary, for example. That is what this tells you, okay? It groups the scholars for you. And you can even change the different domains to see specifically for that domain, okay? Now, if you said you just want to see everybody charted together homeroom, you scroll a little bit further, okay? This is my favorite view of it. It already tells you the student's name, their percentiles and achievement for their reading score, their RIT scores, their Lexile. Okay? But it also breaks it down by domain. There. Now let's say if you want to see who was the highest that performed in vocabulary specifically. You can tap on that next to the name and it'll filter the scholars for you that way. Okay? That is important because you may have a scholar that performed high in vocabulary that did not have the top overall RIT score. They might have outperformed the top overall RIT score person in that specific domain. That's why it's important for us to drill down a little bit further, especially when we start making our small groups. Because we want to be able to have that targeted instruction for those scholars. So these two scholars that fell in the group in the highest, in the 80th or higher percentile will not receive the same instructional materials in small groups as the students that fell in the 50th percentile. Because now we're targeting them to move higher. Understood? Questions so far? I want to stop y'all there. We're sure. Ms. Carson.
When you're trying to get it from like seeing the highest, mine is the lowest for math, and then it goes to.
If you double click it, it'll change it. It do it both ways.
So
You want to see it lowest to highest, you click the arrow, highest to lowest, click the arrow. Specifically for each domain.
So again, you can click the students and it'll shift it, but if you want to see that particular domain, go next to where that domain title is and click it.
And click it.
And so that brings me to what your first notice and wonder was, and when you said, what do those students need specifically, and what can you do as that teacher? So when we start doing small groups and instructional focus, we're not tailoring it to what the grade level needs, we're tailoring it to what that student needs.
Right.
And filling in those gaps
Absolutely.
and closing the gaps of those deficits.
Okay. Now, for the sake of us filling out our data workbook with domains, okay, you have this here. Now you can change it for each domain. You can do that for each domain and it'll filter it for you. Because as you notice, I changed it for the second domain. Hope was not the top performing student for when we did it for vocabulary. But she is the top performing student for text, context styles, and context structures and styles. So that's why that's important for you to notice, because she was not the top in vocabulary, but she is in that specific domain, okay? Now, transition into your workbook. You have your domains, okay? Here, these are your RIT scores at the top for where we want our scholars to fall at in the spring. Why do I want our scholars to fall at those RIT scores in the spring? What do we do in the spring? Huh? What do we do in the spring? Yeah, say it with your chest. What we do? We take it again, but what else do we take in the spring?
The G-Man.
Thank you. We take the Georgia milestones. In the G, we take that. So we want our scholars to perform around this area in the spring, because that tells us that they not only are ready to take the Georgia milestone, that tells us that they will perform at a proficient level on the Georgia Milestones assessment.
The end in mind, we're mapping through the year, backwards design,
That's
the end
right.
is in mind.
The end is in mind. So with that, that means that that scholar will either get a 1 point or 1.5 point instead of a 0.5 point or a 0. Because that's what we want. We want our scholars to fall in that proficient area, okay? So that is where we want our scholars to shoot for. So today we're going to work on you guys filling that out. Thank you, Ms. Carson. Go ahead and knocking that out because I'm on your tab.
Quick things. You can grab your student's name from your homeroom, copy them, and drop them there. First quick thing. Secondly, I know you toggled with the up and down or the changing of your from least to greatest, but if you go back on that NWEA spreadsheet and you click next to your scholars' names, it'll go ahead and alphabetize them for you so you can get back to where you were alphabetized. And you can just go in order. So again, you can copy and paste from your first spreadsheet and grab your homeroom name and drop them on your second one. And then right here, if you had yours out of order, you'll press this arrow. It's gonna repopulate your homeroom roster in alphabetical order so that as you're going through your spreadsheet, you're not dropping the wrong information on the wrong kid. And grabbing your domains. This is ELA.
Okay? Question? Yes, ma'am. I'm coming.
I also
I got you.
suggest printing. If you're like me and trying to navigate on that computer, printing it out and then just reading them off, or I can read them off, or we can tag team it. It'll go really quick. We had somebody finish it in like 12 minutes.
Yeah. So with that being said, are there any lasting questions about before I release you into the jungle of working?
Of the work.
Okay? All right, no question?
Underclass, are we seeing the entire
Homeroom.
homeroom, or, for example, myself, ELA classes? So it's not showing my students for math and English together. It's just all of them for ELA across the entire.
We can change it to homeroom, what she about to show you. Okay, specifically. All right, any other questions? All right, so we have a good solid 25 minutes to work. So go ahead and work in the session. I'm gonna go ahead and answer this question if this is lingering in your mind. No, you cannot work in your classroom. This is your working session here. I love you, but I love to see your face working.
And we're here to help.
Okay, and we're here to help. So we will work in here. If you need a mice,